Have you ever felt exhausted without doing anything at all? Not your body, but your mind. The kind of tiredness that follows you into bed and still refuses to let you sleep. You close your eyes, but your thoughts don't. They run. They replay things you wish you had done differently. They imagine things that haven't even happened yet. And somehow, they convince you that both are real. If you've ever felt that way, then this story might feel uncomfortably familiar. There was a man named Daniel. He was 47 years old. From the outside, his life looked normal, a steady job, a small apartment, a routine that never changed. But inside, it was chaos. Every morning, Daniel woke up before his alarm, not because he was disciplined, but because his mind wouldn't let him rest. The room would still be dark, silent, and except for the faint ticking of a clock on the wall, and his own breathing, short, uneven. He would lie there, staring at the ceiling, not thinking about what he wanted to do that day, but thinking about everything that could go wrong. Have you ever noticed how your mind does that? It doesn't show you peace. It shows you possibilities of pain. Daniel carried his past like a weight. Mistakes he couldn't undo. Words he wished he hadn't said. Opportunities he let slip away. And then, his future. Endless scenarios. What if I fail? What if I lose everything? What if things never get better? By the time he got out of bed, he was already tired. Not physically, mentally, emotionally. Like he had already lived through 100 problems. That didn't even exist. Days passed like this, weeks, years, until one evening, something small happened, but it changed everything. Daniel was sitting alone in a quiet park after work. The sun was low, and casting long shadows across the empty benches. He wasn't really looking at anything. Just sitting there, lost in thought. Again. That's when he noticed an old man, sitting a few feet away. The man wasn't doing anything special, no phone, no book, just sitting. Still, calm. Almost too calm. There was something about him, something different. Daniel tried to ignore it, but curiosity has a strange way of pulling us in. After a few minutes, he spoke. "I don't understand how you can just sit there like that." The old man turned his head slowly and smiled. Not a big smile, just enough to feel real. "What do you mean?" he asked gently. Daniel let out a quiet breath. "My mind doesn't stop, ever, even when I want it to." The old man nodded, as if he had heard this many times before. "Ah," he said softly, "you're carrying too much, in places that don't exist." Daniel frowned slightly. "I don't understand." The old man didn't explain. Instead, he stood up slowly, and gestured for Daniel to follow. "Come," he said. "Let's take a walk." They walked in silence for a few minutes. The park was quiet. Leaves rustled softly in the wind. A distant dog barked. Somewhere a child laughed. But Daniel barely noticed any of it. His mind was still somewhere else. Finally, they stopped near a narrow wooden footbridge. It stretched over a shallow stream. The wood looked old, uneven, slightly unstable. The old man looked at Daniel and said, "I want you to walk across this bridge, to the other side, and then come back." Daniel glanced at the bridge. "That's it?" The old man smiled. "Not quite." He pointed down at the water. The stream was moving gently, but the surface reflected the sky like a mirror. "I want you to walk across without looking down at your feet." Daniel hesitated. "That doesn't sound very safe." The old man nodded. "It isn't, if your mind is somewhere else." There was a pause. A quiet one. The kind that makes you think, He. Daniel looked at the bridge again. Narrow, unsteady. One wrong step, and he could slip. His heart started to beat a little faster, but something inside him wanted to try. He stepped forward, placed one foot on the bridge, then the other. The wood creaked softly beneath him. He swallowed. "Don't look down," the old man said calmly. Daniel kept his eyes forward, focused. His body felt tense, every step, careful, slow, deliberate. The world around him began to fade. No past, no future, no what-ifs, just this step, then the next. His breathing changed, deeper, more steady. For the first time in a long time, his mind went quiet. Halfway across, a sudden gust of wind shook the trees. The bridge moved slightly. Daniel felt his balance shift. For a moment, panic rushed in. What if I fall? The thought appeared, loud, sharp. But then, something unexpected happened. He didn't follow it. He noticed it. And then, he let it pass. His focus returned. Step, step, step. Finally, and he reached the other side. He stood there for a moment, surprised. Not just that he made it, but how he felt. Different, lighter. Then he turned and walked back. This time, it was easier. When he returned, the old man was watching him quietly. Daniel let out a long breath. I did it. The old man nodded. Yes, you did. Then he asked, tell me, while you were walking, were you thinking about your past? Daniel shook his head. No. Were you worrying about your future? No. What were you thinking about? Daniel paused as just the next step. The old man smiled. That is where peace lives. Daniel stood still. Something inside him shifted. The old man continued, his voice calm and steady. Your mind is not the problem. It's where you keep placing it. You put it in the past, and it gives you regret. You put it in the future, and it gives you fear. But when you place it right here, he gently tapped the wooden bridge with his foot. It gives you peace. Daniel felt those words, not just in his ears, but somewhere deeper. You didn't lose your peace, the old man said softly. You just stopped standing where it exists. Silence followed. But this time, it wasn't empty. It was calm. The kind of silence that doesn't ask questions. It simply is. The sun was beginning to set. Warm light spread across the trees and reflected gently on the water. For the first time in years, Daniel noticed it. Really noticed it. Not as a background, but as something real, something present, something here. They didn't say much after that. They didn't need to, because some lessons don't need more words. They need space. Daniel walked home slowly that evening, but something was different. The noise in his head was quieter. Not gone, but softer, more distant. And for the first time in a long time, he didn't feel the need to chase every thought. He just let them come and let them go. Days later, and his life didn't magically change. His job was the same. His problems were still there. But his relationship with his mates had changed. And that changed everything. He still had thoughts. Of course he did. But now, he had a place to return to. A simple place. The next step. The present moment. And maybe that's all any of us ever needed. So let me ask you something. Right now, where is your mind? Is it somewhere in the past? replaying something you can't change? Or is it racing ahead, trying to control something that hasn't happened yet? Or is it here, with this breath, with this moment? Because peace is not something you find. It's something you return to again and again and again. And if this story found you at the right time, maybe it's not just a story.